Hi guys, so today I'm going to be filming another Instagram Decides, and the topic of today's video is the strongest perfumes according to you. So if you guys don't know how Instagram Decides works, it's something that actually I started a long time ago, and I did kind of see that a lot of people do it nowadays. So I ask you guys on Instagram a specific fragrance related question, and then I look at the answers and choose like the most popular answers and put it into a YouTube video. So that's what we're doing today. I ask you what is the strongest perfume according to you. I'm going to share with you guys the answers, which I'm really looking forward to it because actually there is a lot of fragrances here that I agree with. Some of them I own, some of them I don't own, and I just am really looking forward to this specific topic. So let's get into the video without further ado. The first fragrance that we have here is Nishane Annie. Totally agree with this one. A very strong and beast mode vanilla fragrance from Nishane. I love it. As you guys can see, I have worn this one quite a lot. It is a beautiful vanilla with some kind of spicy ginger in the top of it. And when it dries down, it becomes really cozy, warm, balsamic and woody. Beautiful, very long lasting, and very projecting as well. You will notice that about all the fragrances in this video. All of them are beast mode, all of them are very long lasting, and they project a lot, so I don't need to continue and keep on saying that about each fragrance because literally every single one in here is a beast mode scent. You guys all said Nishane Annie, and I totally agree with it. Beautiful vanilla fragrance. Right, next up is Baccarat Rouge 540, which obviously I had a feeling that this one would come up. I already knew before asking you guys the question on Instagram that this one would be in the list. You guys know it. We don't need to go further into it. It's very sweet, woody, a little spicy on the top. It's a beautiful fragrance. I love it. Not very unique anymore, but nonetheless a very long-lasting and very beast mode fragrance with a huge sillage. Baccarat Rouge 540. Next up we have Amouage Interlude. I just have the Black Iris version. I don't have the original, but honestly the whole entire Interlude line, all of them are extremely strong and very polarizing at the same time. For me, Interlude is just a masterpiece, and I have to say something. I personally don't really feel the need to wear this fragrance. It's not something that I want to wear on myself, but I love to smell Interlude on other people, and I love to smell it in the air. It's just not the sort of fragrance that I personally like to wear on myself. It is incredible though. It is truly a masterpiece, and Interlude, as you guys can imagine, it's a beast mode fragrance. It's smooth, it's sweet, it's woody, it's a little earthy, it's a bit creamy. It has this kind of like leathery feeling to it as well. It is so complex, so unique, such a masterpiece. I don't even know what's going on in the fragrance because it is so complex. It's very hard to pinpoint all of the notes and what's going on inside of the bottle because it is a very complex structure to a fragrance, and I think that Amouage created really a masterpiece with this scent. So I keep saying Black Orchid because it's the same perfume that created Interlude, sorry, from Amouage is definitely a beast mode scent. So next up we have one from Mancera. I sadly do not own it, but I own several fragrances that kind of fit into the same category of a scent. It is Red Tobacco from Mancera. Definitely a beast mode fragrance. I have smelled it in passing so many times. It's warm, sweet, woody. You have some tobacco. It's quite creamy, smooth, very woody, but done in the best way possible. For me personally, I think that Carlisle and Red Tobacco, they smell quite similar. I own Carlisle. I also have one from Carolina Herrera, the private collection, called Mystery Tobacco. Another one that smells kind of in the same universe as Red Tobacco from Mancera. Very beautiful fragrance, warm, sweet, cozy, woody, creamy, bit boozy, has the tobacco note in there. Fantastic fragrance, and yes, it is a beast, an absolute beast, which I feel like Mancera and Montal, they're quite well known for creating fragrances with a huge projection and that lasts a long time. They don't necessarily always smell very natural and very high quality, but they make great long-lasting fragrances, so I have to give them that. Next up we have Layton from Parfums Mali, one of my favorite fragrances on a man of all time, still to this day, guys. I often get asked on Instagram, do you still love Layton? Yes, of course. I'm never not going to love this fragrance on a man. It's just the epitome of the perfect fragrance for men. Layton, as you guys know, it's fresh and aromatic at the top, but it has a sweetness, it has a woodiness in the base. It is just fantastic. It really has something that catches you when you smell it, and it is just goddamn fantastic. I absolutely love this fragrance. Like I said, still to this day, it has some lavender, it has a sweetness, maybe some apple or something in there. Then it has this very like dry, woody base to it. And I feel like Parfums de Marly, they really have this DNA throughout all of the fragrances. And obviously Layton is no different. Fantastic, long lasting, projects a lot. The sillage of this one is just perfection. And yeah, it's definitely a beast. I agree with that one. So next up is one that I just almost smashed on the floor. It is Black Afgano from Nasomatto. Again, another beast, you guys know. A lot of people said Black Afgano because yes, it's a very long lasting fragrance. It has cannabis, it has like this very dark woodiness to it. What else? It's quite smoky. It almost has a slight sweetness underneath as well. I'm not sure where that's coming from. I think it's leaking. Black Afgano for me is actually a very, very nice fragrance on a man. The bottle, the name, and the juice can tend to be a little off-putting when it comes to marketing. But truly, guys, I think that this fragrance smells fantastic on a man in a more formal situation. Maybe at a wedding, maybe you have like a business meeting. I don't know, something a little more formal. I really feel like Black Afgano smells fantastic. Even a night out, it could be considered like quite sexy. I love this fragrance, and yes, it definitely is a beast mode scent. So next up we have another one from MFK. It is Oud Satin Mood. Another one of my favorites. It's definitely a beast of a scent. Oud Satin Mood for me is a beautiful, sweet rose and oud fragrance. It's quite powdery. I think there is some violet in here, some benzoin. It has this almost like candied violet sort of smell inside of the fragrance. I don't even know if that even translates, but it's a rose and oud, but it has this kind of like candied violet scent underneath. For me, it's not like a syrupy rose and oud. It's very, very sweet, but more of this kind of candy sweetness in there. Very strong, very long lasting. For me, it's quite a feminine rose and oud fragrance, even though I know a lot of men wear it. For me, maybe it's the violet note in there. It does smell quite feminine, and I do really love it. Although I don't wear it very often because, to be quite honest, I do find this fragrance to be quite overwhelming. Like when I spray it on, I feel like I cannot, like, nothing else in the world exists except for this fragrance. That's how strong it is to me, and sometimes that can be a little bit nauseating in a way. All of these fragrances for some people could definitely be considered nauseating. It just depends how strong that you like your fragrance. Most of them, I love. Some of them are a little overwhelming, and for me this one can tend to be a little overwhelming when I wear it. So Oud Satin Mood from MFK, beautiful rose and oud. Very, very, very strong. Next up we have Urba Pura by Xerjoff, which was kind of a surprise to me. Not really, because it definitely is a strong fragrance, and I have spoken about how strong this fragrance is. Urba Pura for me, unlike a lot of the fragrances in this video, it has a very fruity DNA. Very fruity, very, very, very musky, and very dry and woody. I feel like there is some ambroxan in the base of this one for sure. It's very long lasting. It has this really dry, woody base to it, and in the top, this very like punchy, sour, fruity, musky sort of scent to it. It is a fantastic fragrance. It is not my favorite from Xerjoff at all. I much prefer like Dama Bianca, La Capitale, Italica, Ivory Root, Tony Yomi, etc. The list goes on. You guys know how much I love Xerjoff. But Urba Pura, it is hands down one of the longest lasting, and also the one that I get the most compliments on. So it's a fantastic fragrance. I know a lot of people love the scent, and I do really recommend it because I think you're getting your money's worth with this one. Yeah, very long lasting, really appealing DNA, beast mode fragrance. The next fragrance was mentioned so much on my Instagram, so much. When I asked you guys, this one came up, one of the top fragrances. It is from Louis Vuitton, and it is Ombre Nomade. Now, I have smelled this fragrance several times. It actually kind of reminds me of like the smell of Dubai Mall, or when you walk into the Louis Vuitton store in Dubai Mall, you smell Ombre Nomade everywhere. So it's a very commercial and popular DNA where I'm living in Dubai. So I have smelled it so many times, and I think it is fantastic. I'm not sure if I would buy it anytime soon because I have so many other fragrances that smell really similar to it, but nonetheless, it is a fantastic fragrance and I really do love it. And yes, it is a beast. I had a sample of it and I was wearing it to test. It's a beast mode fragrance. It's oud, it's rose, it's geranium, it's raspberry, it's saffron, it's amber wood. It's very, very, very strong, very ambery, a little smoky, a lot of oud in there. It's just a fantastic DNA, fantastic scent, and overall just a beast mode scent. And really guys, so many of you recommended Louis Vuitton Ombre Nomade in my question box, so yeah. Next up is Oud for Greatness. I kind of suspected this one. It's one of the usual suspects when you think about a very strong fragrance. Yes, very, very, very strong. As you guys know, it is a very mysterious, smoky, woody, slightly sweet fragrance. There's some saffron, there is some oud. It's very smooth and woody and creamy and smoky and a little bit sweet. Fantastic fragrance, very mysterious, very sexy on a man. And like I was mentioning earlier, that some fragrances that are very strong can be quite nauseating. For me guys, I hate to say it, but I think I wore it a little bit too much one time and I just became really like overwhelmed by the fragrance and I could no longer wear it after that. I don't know what happened, but I think I just maybe oversprayed it, and then I woke up the next day because I went out the previous night. And when I woke up, I think I could smell Oud for Greatness like everywhere, and it just made me like feel repulsed in a way. So don't let that steer you away from the fragrance. It is a absolute masterpiece of a fragrance. So many brands have copied it now. There is so many dupes in Dubai of Oud for Greatness. There are so many brands that have copied it. Fantastic, but personally I have like, I don't know, I feel a bit nauseated because it's so strong. So strong. Oud for Greatness from Initio, a great one. Okay, so next up we have one from the private collection from Dior. It is, I just had a mind blank. It is Oud Ispahan. I have smelled this fragrance many times. Whenever I go into Dior, I'm saying it like I go in a lot. I don't really go in that much, but whenever I do, I always smell Oud Ispahan because I know it's a very popular fragrance from Dior, and in general, I know so many people that wear Oud Ispahan and praise it and love it so much. And yes, I also really like it, but for me, I much prefer like Ambre Nuit, Bois d'Argent, Vanilla Diorama, Gris Dior. I much prefer other fragrances from the private collection, but I know how many people love Oud Ispahan. Dry, woody, a little smoky, a little spicy, there's some rose. It is really a beautiful fragrance. It's a rose and oud again, but it's stunning. I really do love it. Whenever I smell it on someone, it always catches my attention, and I always give a compliment on Oud Ispahan because it does smell great. And yes, the fragrance is a freaking beast. So be careful with the trigger on Oud Ispahan. It's very strong. I guess me now, I'm a little bit jaded to that DNA of rose and oud because unlike in the US or in Australia or maybe even in Europe as well, I smell it so often and so frequently in Dubai. Whenever I leave the house, there is not a time that I don't leave the house and I don't catch a whiff of like rose and oud or rose or oud by itself. I smell it everywhere, so I'm not as, it's not as appealing to me nowadays. But Dior Ispahan, either way, is a great fragrance, and yes, definitely a beast. So talking about rose and oud, the final fragrance in this list is Lancome Oud Bouquet, which is definitely an OG for me. And if you have followed me for a long time, you know that about me, that I love this fragrance. It's my baby, and it was one of my first like rose and oud fragrances that I ever tried in my whole entire life, even though I'm pretty sure most fragrances on the market don't even contain any oud, but that's just a little side note. Oud Bouquet was my love, and it still is to this day, and I will forever have this fragrance in my collection because in terms of that rose oud sweet combination, this is the best in my opinion. This is hands down the best. It is just so good. I would say that the rose is less prominent in Lancome Oud Bouquet. It's more of the sweet woodiness going on in here. It's just so good. It's very sticky, it's sweet. I have the old formulation as well, which is even better than the formulation that they sell to this day. The old formula, if you can ever find a bottle of it, snatch it up real quick because it's just so good. The juice is so potent, so strong, so oily, so thick. It's just to die for. Yeah, rose, oud, praline, vanilla. I don't know what else is in there, but it's just so jammy and so sweet and therapy? Yeah, I need to go. Sticky, sweet, delicious rose and oud fragrance, and hands down, one of my strongest fragrances I've ever touched in my whole entire life, guys. This one, it lasts like 24 hours. Like majority in this list, that they all last a very, very absurdly long time on the skin. So yeah, this list for me was just absolutely perfect because I agree with everything. Everything is really long lasting, and yeah, that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if you want to see any other Instagram decides. Make sure to leave a comment or message me on Instagram, because I really love doing these videos because they're more, it feels like you guys are kind of in a way included in the video and the process of making it. So I do really enjoy that. So let me know, guys, if you want to see any other Instagram decides, and I will get onto it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.